Hey science peeps, we're going to wrap some things up today, and I'm going to give you some quick instructions, and there's going to be some notes here. I want you to follow along as you go through these notes, and I want you to copy some things down. There's going to be some times where you're going to have independent work time and you can pause the video. There's going to be other times that you're going to need to kind of pay attention carefully. But you're going to need to complete the lab that we worked on from block day, and there's going to be notes that you take on albedo, but we'll get to that. Just heads up, quiz, there will be a quiz next week, Friday, or block day, and it's going to be over many of the things that we had covered since Tuesday with things like convection, conduction, radiation, these things, and we'll add on some more and as we go. But I think you guys will follow along with it just fine. So here's kind of what you got to do. First, you got to complete the lab. When you go into Google Classroom, I want you to come back to the lab, that heat capacity and climate model lab, and you're going to continue finishing up your graph. Make sure that your graph is completed, and then from all your data. So if you still need the data from your group members, get it, you'll be good. Finish your graph. Then answer the questions down below. So you're going to run through and answer all the questions in the lab. But if you're in my first period class, just know that the numbering is a little different. Like you'll notice that this used to be question number 7. This is question number 7. Just change it in your notebook and you'll be fine. And I think you'll be following the rest is just fine. Answer the rest of these questions. But when you get to number 8, here's the thing. Number 8 says research the term heat capacity. Here's the definition for heat capacity. I want you to write it in for your answer for number 8. Heat capacity is the energy to change the temperature of a substance by 1 degree Celsius. Different substances actually heat up a little differently. When something has a high heat capacity, that means that the temperature changes slowly. More energy is stored in the molecules. And then when something has a low heat capacity, temperature changes very quickly. The energy doesn't actually go into the molecule or go into the molecules as much. Actually, that energy gets transferred very quickly from one molecule to another. And so low heat capacity, it doesn't really hold on to the energy that well. It has a small capacity to hold on to the heat. But high heat capacity, it holds on to the heat more. And so it actually heats up slowly, and that seems weird, but it's because that energy is actually stored in the molecules. And this phenomenon that different substances do heat up differently, like at either faster or slower, is something that you noticed in lab. And you're going to answer some other questions like 9 and 10 about that. So make sure that you have the definition for heat capacity and then go ahead and answer this stuff. So you're going, once you're done with answering number 10, check with the instructor in the room. They need to check your answers before you move on. Once you got that, then you're going to answer questions 11 through 15. They do involve these maps, and you can read the instructions for it. It goes by pretty quick. But again, when you get done with number 15, check back with the instructor. You need to check these answers because these are going to be the things you need to know. Once you get to that point, I'm going to have you pause the video here for a moment, get through all those questions, and then come back. We'll talk about albedo. And so, see you guys in just a little bit. Okay, we're back, you guys. And so, we're going to talk about albedo and say that word, albedo. It's kind of fun. But what the heck is albedo? And what does it actually have to do anything with what we're talking about now, especially with heat and light? Well, albedo actually is a process, and a property of substances that tells us how much energy is reflected or absorbed by a surface without being, or reflected by a surface without being absorbed. And so different substances will absorb more energy, and some substances will reflect energy and not actually absorb it and heat up as much. When something has a low albedo, we say that it absorbs a lot of light and heat. Low albedo means low reflection. So it tends to heat up really quickly because all the rays of light come in and get absorbed. Okay? But when something has a high albedo, it tends to reflect light or heat. High albedo means it has a lot of reflection, and it tends to heat up slowly because those rays of light, instead of absorbing into the substance, they actually reflect and bounce off of it. And so that's how we distinguish between low albedo, high albedo. And so albedo, it's reflection, and that's the key word. I want you to make sure that you have these in your notes, and you need to have all this stuff. I want you to write it in your notes. So if you haven't done so, I want you to pause the video, write it in your notes, and then once you got it, unpause it. Do that now. All right, you got it. And once you got that in your notes, then I'm going to have you think about this. And I'm going to have you write this in your notes as well. And I want you to take a look at your lab. But from your lab, we tested out some different substances, like our soil and our sand. But I want you to think between those two, which substance had a greater albedo, soil and the sand? I want you to use the evidence from your lab to support your answer. So use your data and that definition for albedo. Which one had a greater albedo, soil or the sand? Take a moment. I want you to write this into your notebook and answer those questions. Go ahead and do that. All right. So from our lab though, check it out. We can say that our soil has a very, low albedo. And this one's, I gotta fix these. Our soil has a low albedo because it actually absorbs a lot more light and heat, so it doesn't actually reflect a lot, and it heated up a lot faster. That makes it have a low albedo. Sand, though, had a very high albedo, and it's because it actually reflects light more. And because and we saw that because it actually heated up a lot slower than the soil did. So it tends to reflect because of the light color of it. That light tends to reflect off. And for our soil, it tends to be really dark, and it gets absorbed or absorbs a lot of that light. So not a lot of reflection. So that's how we describe albedo. Sometimes that's easy to get it mixed around, and I did it too. But you gotta make sure that we keep straight. When something has a low albedo, it absorbs energy and it heats up fast. Something has a high albedo, it reflects energy and it heats up much slower. It doesn't end up absorbing a lot of the heat. Okay? So once we got that, I want you to take a look at these different situations or these different pictures. Some of these pictures represent objects that have a very low albedo. Some of them represent something with a very high albedo. I want you to pause the video and think for a moment, which of these pictures represent something with a low albedo? Which is the lowest albedo? And then which of these pictures are high albedo? Which one do you think has the highest albedo? Take a moment and do that. All right. And when we come back, so when we think about low albedo, high albedo, if you said the lowest albedo or something more along these lines with like pavement or this house that has a very dark roof, that's correct. These are very low albedos. But something with a very high albedo tends to be light colors. And even snow has a very high albedo. tends to reflect light. Think about it this way. So that albedo scale tends to go from 0 to 1. It's kind of like 1 means that it reflects all the light, and snow reflects a lot of light. So light rays coming from the sun tend to bounce off of snow, and not much actually soaks in and actually heats up the snow. But something like asphalt, it's very dark colored, and so it tends to actually hold on to that heat, and so the light rays coming in tend to get absorbed, and not much of it gets reflected. So this we say has a very low albedo, and it tends to heat up quick. So that's kind of what those are, and it actually has a big effect. This, I want you to write this into your notes: urban heat island effect. As this part, I want you to write down into your notes. You don't have to copy down the diagram, but what can sometimes happen is because of pavement absorbs so much energy, it can actually heat up places with lots of pavements, like in cities or in downtown areas of towns and cities. And the surrounding areas that don't have quite as much, like when we have places like natural land, plants, vegetation, a lot of parks, or rural areas, it tends to, these areas tend to have a higher albedo. They don't tend to absorb as much energy. But places where we have a lot of development, a lot of pavement, a lot of roofs, that's where energy gets absorbed a lot, has a very low albedo. The temperatures actually increase around these areas. And that's what we end up calling a heat island, because those downtown areas, even though they can be kind of big, and kind of for the surrounding area, it kind of really takes up a very small chunk. And so you end up with very high heat around these cities, and around the surrounding areas, it tends to actually be much cooler and doesn't actually heat up quite as much. And so that's kind of what's going on. And temperatures tend to be hotter in the cities than it is for the surrounding areas. There's some things that people actually do, like in Phoenix, Arizona. Here's kind of an aerial view, and you'll notice that the tops of the roofs are not all black. These are, a lot of them are painted white, and they're painted white so that they have a higher albedo. It reflects more sunlight and reflects more energy, does not absorb as much, and so they actually don't heat up as much. So more of that sunlight gets reflected. And here in this Twin Cities area, you'll kind of, when you look at weather maps, you'll actually notice that temperatures around the Twin Cities tends to be higher than other places around it, and it's because of this heat island effect. Notice that this is from these temperatures. It shows 27 degrees in a lot of areas surrounding the Twin Cities, but then the Twin Cities itself is much higher than those temperatures. And other large cities tend to have higher temperatures. It's because all the pavement absorbs a lot of the energy, and it creates this heat island. And that can actually affect things like weather and all that stuff in our area. So that's kind of what we got for notes. But make sure that you have all the things that you need for notes. You need this urban heat island part, and you need to have things with the albedo effect, and you need to make sure that you also have your lab done. Thanks for following along with this, you guys. But we'll kind of wrap things up on when we come back on Monday, and yeah, you guys should be all set. Any time that you have left, you can work on like test corrections or quiz corrections or things like that. But I'll talk to you guys later.